Good morning. Today's aim is how can we determine the average outcome of a probability distribution? It's lesson 5.05, expected value. All right, so you guys are going to start off with the do now. The following question. You are flipping a coin 2 times and recording whether the coin lands on heads or tails each time. And the hint for you is to list all possible outcomes of flipping the coin twice, which is X, then create a probability distribution using this information. So what I would like you guys to do is work on the do now and then come back to these slides when you're done so you could review your answers. All right, coming back to review. So you're flipping a coin 2 times and recording whether the coin lands on heads or tails each time. List all the possible outcomes of flipping the coin twice, then create a probability distribution using this information. So if you did your tree diagram or you used another different way, you'll see that there are 4 chances. So you could have a coin show up heads twice, tails twice, heads then tails, and tails then heads. And you have to think to yourself, is that the same? Does the order matter? You may not be able to answer that just now. But what we should see is each of those options has an equal chance of being selected or being occurred. They are 1/4, 1/4, 1/4, 1/4. Notice, all add up to 1 or 100%. Okay, so the problem is, right, when you're faced with a situation of chance, wouldn't it be helpful to know what happens on average? This is especially useful when there's numerical values involved or or money involved. So when working with quantitative distributions, we could estimate what the average outcome will be. That, whether it's points, whether it's money, whether it's some other values. So the average outcome is what we call the expected value. So expected value is a predicted value of a variable calculated as the sum of all possible values, each multiplied by its probability occurrence. And it's represented by EX or U. We are going to use more of EX here though. So it's calculated using the following formula. EX equals the summation of X times P of X. So that funky looking E is called summation. What that means is of all the possible x's and p of x's, you're going to multiply x times p of x, add them all together, whether it's 2 x's and p of x's, 5, 6, 7 x's and p of x's, however many there are, multiply x times p of x, and then add all of them. So what does this actually tell us? Well, it would tell us how much we should expect to pay for a game or an event. We call this the break-even point. It's a term used in statistics that tells us what is the maximum amount that we would be able or willing to pay to play a game. It can also talk about how an average payout, how we expect to do on a test. Um, if you were doing a situation with like sports, you could, such as basketball, you could talk about how many points they'll score on average for every shot. So expected value is something that you could use in a lot of different ways. So what I want you guys to do now is I would like you to try your guided practice for today. When you're done, come back and review on the next slides. Okay, going back now. So the guided practice problem, as an insurance company, you have policies and the 3 options are possible. So if someone were to die while having a policy with your company, you would have to pay them $10,000. If they suffer some sort of disability, you'll have to pay them $5,000. And then if they're living, you have to pay them nothing. Now let's look at the probabilities. So, probability of death is 1 out of 1,000. Probability of disability is 2 out of 1,000. And lastly, the probability of life is 997 times 1,000. So now, to do expected value, you're going to take each outcome. So 10,000, 5,000, 0. You're going to multiply it by its probability. So 1 divided by 1,000, 2 divided by 1,000, 997 divided by 1,000. And then you will add those results all together. So 10,000 times 1 over 1,000, that gives you 10. 5,000 times 2 over 1,000 gives you 10 as well. Anything times 0 is 0, so you add them together and you get $20. So based on this scenario, the company could expect to pay about $20 per salary. So in theory, they should charge somewhere above that in order to be profitable. All right, guys, that is today's lesson. Make sure you go and finish your practice work. Make sure you then submit your survey, and I will get back to you guys with any questions or concerns.